Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. It's been a couple of weeks since you last saw me because I've been a busy bee doing this, that and the other, but most important thing that happened in those 2 weeks is that I took a trip to Bath with my sister Laura and we met up with Sarah. It was an absolutely amazing day to meet my bestie for the first time in person. It was all three of us. We are so close. We talk to each other like every day. We are like sisters. Of course, Laura is my real sister. Sarah is my, extra sister as well. And so to actually spend a day together was incredible. And to do it in Bath as well, it was an absolutely amazingly gorgeous day. We walked around Bath for ages. We went to the Jane Austen Centre shop and such, and Mr. Wickham was wanted to get to know us a little bit, but I kind of shot him down a bit because I was like, nah. If it was Colonel Brandon or something, then maybe I'd have a chat with him. I was like, no, mate, no, you're Wickham, no. And yeah, we got to hang out, and it was just incredible to spend the day with Sarah. It was just amazing. Sorry, I've just realised that the lighting's going crazy right now because even though it's gorgeous out, the sun keeps on peeking behind clouds. So sorry if the picture just suddenly goes dark. I can't do anything about that. And yeah, I've been obviously working and all that jazz, but I've only got 2 more weeks and then I've got a week off for my birthday, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, it's been busy, it's been fun, and I've been, just taking each day as it comes, really. And what I mean by that is I haven't been putting pressure on myself because I was like, oh, I really have to get through the Cazalets and get them done out the way and everything. And then I just thought, no, you know what, no, because this is the thing that I said, that I wanted to read at my own pace and do what I want to do. And yeah, so it took 2 weeks between book 4 and 5, so that's what's happened. And also, I'm very excited because my sister is finally watching The Handmaid's Tale. It's a series that she hasn't watched because of multiple reasons. But yeah, the trip to Bath and the conversation that I was having with Sarah about Handmaid's Tale and that has triggered her to want to watch it, and she watched the very first episode last night. So I'm going to be rewatching the series along with her, and so is Sarah. So all three of us together, and yeah, I think it's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to rewatching Handmaid's Tale as well. But anyway, let's talk about why I'm here. I'm here to talk about All Change, the final book of the Cazalet Chronicles by Elizabeth Jane Howard. Now, this one is set in the mid 1950s, and publication-wise, there was quite a significant jump of time, like a decade between book 4 and book 5. So I don't know if it was a case of that Elizabeth did that deliberately, or she just went, no, it's a 4-book chronicle, and then she decided to just pick it up later on and do this 5th book. I don't know, because I said at the end of the last one, it felt like she was tying stuff up. There were some things that she left open, but it did feel to me that she was tying stuff up. So that would imply that this was not a random thing to do, but it did kind of feel like perhaps all change wasn't necessary. But it is nice to go back to the family and see what they're up to. And I want to clarify, first of all, if you have watched my reviews of the previous Cazalet books, you would know that I'm not very fond of Clary. I have issues with Clary. Oh gosh, she annoyed the heck out of me in spaces of time through the books. I know I was a bit ultra critical of her. I forgave her in this book. I forgave her for everything. And knowing what she had done in previous books, and that is like, especially the previous one with a certain playwright, you could probably go, "What? You gonna forgive her for that?" Given her life situation and such, because yeah, but I think I prefer Clary as the older, wiser woman who understands the world in a completely different way than the younger Clary. Younger Clary is very, well, not very. She's strong-willed. She is, she very much knows what she wants, but at the same time, she's ultra critical of people, and she will tell them negative things about themselves to their face, that kind of thing. But she doesn't necessarily realize that what she's doing, and it feels like this older Clary, that she, reflecting back, she understands the consequences of what she did when she was younger. So I think it's, yeah, maybe I needed to meet the older Clary and have and witness her reflecting on her negatives to truly see her positives. Yeah, maybe I've just had that single image, like, of her. Like, I was so appalled with her, like how she would be so super critical of Polly and Polly's decisions, and like, and even when Polly was going through like grief at one point, she's still being ultra critical of her, and it's just like, just shut up, Clary. It's not, just stop it. So I do like the fact that she's able to tell herself off a bit, and find a way of living with the things that she did. I can't say anymore because obviously spoilers. But yeah, it took 5 books, but I finally managed to forgive Clary. So there we go. As for, oh, I forgot to say, I'm so sorry. So just like in previous books, Louise, Clary, and Polly are a key figure in this one. But because this is where we are returning back to Cazalets after a long period of time, all of the other characters have a more distinct role than previous ones. So yeah, so in a way, it's kind of like book 4, but it feels like the amount of time is more that you spend with the characters more appropriate. To clarify, in the previous book, it kind of felt like you were constantly jumping about back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between characters. Whereas this one, it goes, right, I'm going to spend a good amount of chunk of time on this character, then this one, then this one. So at least that's how I felt it was. But I will be really critical about one particular character here. Neville. Neville had such an interesting story in the previous book, and he had such a promising future, and then he just kind of disappears. And it's like, why? You had an opportunity there to really give him a proper ending, and it just felt like he just fluttered away. He's just like, no, 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 no. Almost like, oh, big family get together, but Neville can't come because he's holidaying in Canada or something like that. It's like, that doesn't mean that you just stop his story. We can find out some little tidbits about what he's doing and everything from other characters talking about him. But no, it's like he just like disappears. It is very odd that happens. So yeah, if I'm being super critical, I'd really want Neville, because he's such a nice character as well. He, bless him, he went through a lot, in the previous books. And yeah, he had some great moments, I have to say, but so for him to then just disappear, it's a bit frustrating, I'm gonna say. So we, as mentioned, we see loads of different family members, and we're at the point now that because obviously this, well, now 4 levels, because we had parents, children, grandchildren, and now we've got the next layer of great grandchildren who are in the mix now. So we've got 4 layers. But yeah, but as I said, the great grandparents are now out the picture, so it's back to 3 levels pretty quickly on in this. And the who were the children, the parents, like, so we've, hang on. I'm not explaining this very well, am I? Let's actually have a look at the family tree. I think that might help, just help a little bit here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, right? So top level now gone. So here we are, we're looking at this one. So we've got Hugh, Sybil, Edward, Diana, Rachel, Rupert, and Zoe. So Edward and Hugh are now like in their 60s. So they are seeing life in a, quite a different way. Rachel is still with her lover, Sid, in London. And and then we've got Rupert. And there's something about Rupert and Zoe, especially, going through the books especially after the events of the 4th one. I just find their relationship really interesting, and the way that they are navigating through everything. It's just, yeah, navigating through a marriage where they have been through so much. I just find their balance very interesting, but I especially adore Rachel and Sid. Rachel and Sid are just, I love them. I love them. And this was a really tough one for them. I feel like Rachel became even though she has been prominent throughout, don't get me wrong, I feel like she really took a step forward to stand out in this book. And I don't know if it's just because Elizabeth wanted her to give her the rounding off of her arc the way that she did, or maybe it was a way just to show, because she all through these books, women are so prominent. Women, the different paths that they take, the choices that they make. It's absolutely wonderful to see this exploration of women throughout periods of history, and during, especially during the war and afterwards and such. The way she gave Rachel a forefront in this book, when she has always wanted to sink back, I thought that was very, very interesting. And it did make me teary-eyed. It did choke me up, the end of her story. It's just, there was a lot going on. Now, Louise, well, not bestie, but my fave Louise, I was like, thank fuck you finally did what you needed to do. You waited too long, but you did it, girl. I was so happy for the things that she, for what she did, and it completely and utterly made sense. The choices that she made, just to go, you know what? I will hold my head up and say, I made a wrong choice in a decision that I took that completely changed the course of my life, and I am going to take control of my life again. I was so happy for for her when she got away from a certain entity, asshole in her life. And yeah, it was. I'm glad that she has been able to find happiness, not alone, but because obviously she's never alone, but knowing that how strong she is. While, Clary and Polly have found happiness with others, she has found happiness on her own ground that she is building up herself. And I love that. I loved that. I wish I could say more, but spoilers, that kind of thing. So it was just wonderful to see that no matter what choices these women make, ultimately they are in control of their destiny. They do what they need to do, and they were wonderful. And so finishing off the Cazalet collection, I was like, oh, finally, I've finished it. And I don't mean that as in that is a bad, oh my God, finally it's over. I don't have to, not that, because I did enjoy reading these books, but it just kind of felt like I need to have a break from the Cazalets, to be honest. I love them, but I think I'm ready to put them to bed. And so to get to the end of All Change, the bubble, I don't know if you saw my first book review for the Cazalets, but the bubble, the time capsule that I talked about, that is the first book. It kind of felt like the time capsule got remade over home place with the fifth book. And that was very interesting to me. Yeah, it was like, a second time capsule evolved over the first one as I got through the other books and went, that's the real Cazalets. And so I was like, wow, that was really, really quite interesting. I just wish Neville had been there. That's my one ultra criticism. I'm like, oh man, why Neville just disappears, and it's so sad. But yeah, it was a lot to read. Each of these books were like 600 pages each, and I've got through 5 of them in about 6 or 7 weeks. That's not too bad at all. That's not too shabby. So I will take that. So I think I've done pretty well with getting through them. I mean, writing wise, construction wise, very kind of similar, as I said, to the previous books, but characters were given more of a time to breathe and for us to explore their lives throughout the course of this final book. And thinking about the whole 5 books together, even though there has been obviously many ups and downs with this family and everything that's going along, they all truly deep to their core love each other. And it's what, family is about. Some bits are messy, some bits are, bad, some bits are amazing. As you grow up, as we followed, especially Polly, Clary and Louise, that there comes a shift where you no longer see parents and other family members as just family. You see them as people. You could become critical of them. You could go, wow, they are an incredible person, and want to get to know them more. You could have older generations who you never you don't know what you have till it's gone, you know. And Elizabeth reflected that so well through the course of the 5 books that collectively I am very impressed by them. I think it'd be really interesting now, because I've forgiven Clary. If I then go back over the previous books, would I forgive her from the very offset? That would be very interesting, I think. I don't know why. I'm just, as I said, I didn't like go out to be ultra critical of Clary. I didn't like target her. And I knew of it because obviously the radio plays, I'd listened to the radio plays. I knew what she was like and such. But I'm more critical of book Clary than radio Clary. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's very strange, but I am just so glad that I finished these last of the books and go, I'm happy with Clary now. So I can go back to these books and not have that thing of, oh God, I'm going to have to go through all this stuff again. So yeah, it's time to put the Cazalets to bed. And overall, it was tough at times. There was a lot of stuff that we went through. We got, like, in the last book, last review, I mentioned how suddenly we had some like tag-on characters that just suddenly appeared. That was just like, why are you doing this? And yeah, we have had some interesting people that we've met, some wonderful people that we've met, some horrible people that we've met. But overall, love has been what has held the Cazalets together. And I loved that message going through about what family means. And yeah, it was great. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So, time to ask my usual questions of all change. Would I read this again? Yes, definitely. I think I would. I definitely, obviously, I wouldn't necessarily read it as standalone. I'd have to reread the whole collection. But yeah, I think I would. Would you recommend this to anyone? Yes, I would. As said previously, if there was somebody who'd read like Full Size Saga or something like that, who understood about family sagas in literature and how they're constructed and all that lot, I'd definitely say, give the Cazalets a go. See how you go with it. Would I read any more Elizabeth Jane Howard's work? Yeah, I think I would. I think I might have to actually look into her bibliography outside of the Cazalets, because I don't know any more of her work. I don't know if she has more like multiple book sagas like this, or if all of her other books are standalone. I know she has other books, but I don't know anything more than that. So and as always, I would definitely recommend the BBC Radio 4 dramatisation of the Cazalets, the thing that kicked off my interest in the story, and so triggered me to buy the books. So as usual, I'll put a link to this from Audible for you to check out in the description if you are interested. So there we go. I have finished the Cazalets! Yay! I'm so happy. And I've only got one more book to read before I'm back to picking from the jar. It feels like it's been forever since I've picked something from the jar, but that's because when I picked 5 books, one of those was the Cazalet collection, which was 5 books. So I ended up picking 9 books instead of 5. So I'm really hoping that when I do get to the next 5 book reads, that I will just pick 5 individual books. I won't be picking any book series, so then I can get back to the jar more regularly. But anyway, the next time you will see me is to review Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. So I have read a couple of Thomas Hardy books. I read Tess of the D'Urbervilles and Far from the Madding Crowd. Crown. Oh God, why has my brain just gone completely blank then? Perfect moment for my brain to go blank. But I've never read Jude the Obscure, and I know of something that happens in Jude the Obscure, because it's one of those things where if you're a fan of literature, there are certain books where you go, oh, somebody's revealed something about them, whatever. And Jude the Obscure is one of those where I know something that happens in the book, but I don't know why it happens. So I'm very much looking forward to find out what happens. So yes, I'll be back with my thoughts on Jude the Obscure as soon as I'm done. All right, guys. Bye.